For 8 years, Emma and I were inseparable. I truly believed we had it all. A love that was solid, a partnership built on trust, and a mutual respect that made even the hardest times feel manageable. Sure, there were the usual ups and downs, but nothing that ever made me doubt the strength of what we shared. We had our routines, the inside jokes only we understood, and we both dreamed of the future we would build together. It felt like we were untouchable, a team that could face anything. But that was before the cracks began to show. At first, it was subtle, small changes that seemed insignificant at the time. Emma started spending more time on her phone, her laughter floating through the air, as she responded to messages I never got to see. When I asked about them, she'd brush it off casually, saying she needed time with friends outside our marriage. I didn't question her. I trusted her completely, maybe too much. I thought that everyone needed space sometimes, even in the closest relationships. Then came the nights out with friends I'd never heard of, people she'd never mentioned, yet somehow, they had become a regular part of her life. I didn't press her about it at first. It felt wrong, but I told myself it was nothing, just another phase. But something in me stirred, an unshakable feeling that something was off. One evening, she returned from one of those outings, and I could sense the distance between us before she even said a word. She was distracted, her eyes lost in a world I couldn't access. It was as if she were a stranger, and I didn't know how to reach her anymore. When I asked her what was wrong, there was hesitation in her voice, an uncertainty that sent a chill through me. She finally confessed, her words cutting through the air like a knife. She had been seeing someone else. My world crumbled in that instant. She looked at me, her eyes trying to soften the blow, and said it meant nothing. It was just for fun, she insisted. But how could she dismiss it so easily? How could she say that to me when everything I had given her, everything we had built, was crumbling in front of my eyes? I wanted to believe it was some sick joke, that I would wake up from this nightmare. But the reality was staring me in the face, and I was suffocating in it. I couldn't bring myself to react immediately. I felt numb, as if the ground had disappeared beneath me. The woman I had loved, the woman I had trusted with my heart and soul, had shattered everything we stood for. I didn't know how to process it. I didn't know if I even wanted to. The next few days were a blur, a constant replay of every moment of our relationship. I searched for signs, for clues I might have missed, trying to piece together how it had all gone so wrong. Eventually, the only choice I could make was to face her. I told her we needed to talk, and when we sat down, I laid it all out. I couldn't stay in a marriage where our vows meant so little. The weight of betrayal was too much to carry. I asked her to pack her things and leave, her face twisted with shock, as if she hadn't expected me to draw a line in the sand. I saw a flicker of regret in her eyes, but it was too little too late. The damage had been done, and there was no undoing it. The divorce was swift. We didn't have children to fight for, and there were no assets that needed splitting. It was over clean and simple. She moved out, and I was left with a strange emptiness. At first, it felt like I was drowning in a sea of anger, sadness, and betrayal. But soon, that emptiness transformed into something else, something like freedom. I was free from the lies, from the woman who had once been everything to me, but had shown me how easily trust could be broken. I threw myself into work, surrounded myself with friends, and found new hobbies to distract myself from the pain. Slowly, I started to rebuild my life. I began healing, piece by piece, though the scars would always remain. Then one day, out of nowhere, she showed up at my door. Emma looked different, tired, worn out. Not the confident, carefree woman I remembered. She stood there, her eyes searching mine, and told me she had made a mistake. She missed me. She missed us. And she wanted to try again. I listened to her, but my heart had already made its decision. I wasn't the same person anymore. I had moved on. I was no longer the man who could accept excuses or allow myself to be a doormat for someone else's mistakes. Trust, once shattered, was impossible to rebuild. I told her as much. She begged, tears filling her eyes, pleading for another chance. But I remained firm. It was too late for us. I had loved her once, but that love had died the moment she betrayed me. As she left, broken and defeated, I felt something I hadn't expected, a strange, quiet sense of closure. I had survived the storm, and now, with the door closed behind her, I was free, ready for whatever came next. Ready to find something real, something built on honesty and respect, not lies and betrayal. And for the first time in months, I felt the weight lift from my shoulders. I was finally free to live my life,